Hello, welcome to Pecan Corner. I'm Tina, and today I'm making fried catfish. We have a deep fryer, and when I get ready to put the oil in it, that's when I fry fish, because I don't want to fry anything else after I fried fish. So today we've got some. We bought some frozen catfish. It's nice frozen farm-raised catfish. And I've thawed it out, and now I'm going to fry it in our deep fryer. One year for Christmas, I bought everybody in the family a bread machine for Christmas. The kids that, with everybody working and commuting and stuff, it's really and they all like home cooked food, and so I thought that'd be a great way for them to be able to enjoy fresh baked bread even despite working. Well, everybody loved theirs except Paul, and Paul said, "Oh, I'm at home, when I'm not out on the road antiquing, and so I can make bread at home." And so he said, "I'd rather have a deep fryer." And so we took the bread machine back and got him a deep fryer, and it has been. I have used it a whole lot more than I ever dreamed that I would. It's much safer and easier way to fry than my old way of using a saucepan with a thermometer stuck onto the side of it, candy thermometer on it. So while I've got that heating up, I'm just going to use plain old cornmeal. You can use whatever kind you get. If you're lucky enough to have a source for stone ground cornmeal, that's delicious. I've just got Aunt Jemima today. White or yellow, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to add some Old Bay to it. I'm going to add about half a teaspoon of Old Bay, maybe a little bit more than that. Maybe a teaspoon. There we go. To a cup of cornmeal. I'm also going to add a full teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to stir that up. And where did my fork go? I'm always missing something, aren't I? Be right back. Okay, now then. All I'm going to do, this is the easiest thing because I'm not needing to batter it or anything. I just need to get me a plate ready to pull it off into when it's done. I think I'll use a pen. Stick it in the oven if I need to keep it warm. There we go. My mother always used brown paper bags to drain things off on. And I've got paper towels, so that'll work. Okay, now, like I said, I've thawed these out. They were frozen, and so I'm just going to drop them in here and give them all a good coat with this. Come here. Can't get it. There we go. Maybe I'll use these things instead. There we go. Okay, now give it a good coat. And then I'm going to just let them sit there and dry off a little bit. If your fish is wet, you want to dry it off first. That's one of the things that I've learned about deep frying anything. You want it to be really dry because any moisture that's on the outside of it will turn to steam and it'll keep it from being crisp. And if you like, I can't eat much heat, and I can't eat the spice. But you can add a little more cayenne or a little more of the Old Bay if you like it hot, like that spice. You can also add a little garlic. A little garlic salt is good in there. So you can use whatever season. And if Old Bay is too spicy for you, just use a little onion powder and a little garlic powder, and a little paprika if you want. get them unfolded there, where they folded themselves up. I'm heating my oil to 375 because, you know, it's unfrozen fish, so it won't take that long to cook, but I want it to get nice and crisp on the outside. And I think that fish is like a lot like chicken and eggs in that it needs a lot of salt on it when it's being cooked. You can't make that difference up. Paul's rolling his eyes at me or sighing in there. But I don't think you can make up the flavor by just adding salt after it's done. And I think it has to be cooked on it, and then add some more at the table if you want. I almost can't eat an egg that was cooked without salt added during the cooking time. This catfish is a pretty good deal. It's of course farm raised, but it's flash frozen, and we get it at little Schwartz's grocery. You need to drain this and dry these off. Some of these are sitting in liquid here. And Schwartz is one of those little independent, small town grocery stores, and it's just great. And they'll order anything they can. And they have some really good bargains. That's where I get my bacon that I was talking about in another video. Covered Wagon brand bacon. It's a restaurant pack, and it's a delicious flavor. And a 10-pound box is only, even at regular price, is only $25, which is what, $2.50 a pound. Whereas, but it's often on sale. A while back it was on sale for 14 something a box. So you just can't beat that for a great price for real bacon with real good flavor. And unlike Ends and Pieces bacon, the Covered Wagon is all nice slices. You know, they're not super thin. They're not thick, but it's just normal sliced bacon. It's all a real slice. It's not big old clumps or pieces that didn't go through the slicer correctly. And it's got good flavor. It's been seasoned properly during the cure and spent enough time in the cure to have flavor. So anyway, so that's where we got that's where we usually get our catfish. I made some a while back. Paul said you can make that in papio, which is my favorite way to eat it, which is, you know, cooked in packets or foil or parchment paper packets with vegetables. And I just love any fish that way. That's the only way I'd ever cook fish if I had my druthers, just because that's the way I like to eat it. But I was surprised that even catfish is delicious cooked that way. So if you're trying to watch your fats, or you just like your veggies, the broth in there is so delicious when you cook it that way. I've got to make us some tartar sauce to go with this. So I'll come back and do that before I start frying these, while these sit aside and get drier. Come here, turn over there. Open up. There we go. There we go. Okay. Alright, now let me set all that aside and get out my tartar sauce ingredients. I'll be right back. Okay, now for the tartar sauce, I'm going to chop up some onion. Actually, I'm going to mince some onion. Very, very fine. Make some really thin slice. There we go. That's all I need for this batch. You can use green onions if you want. You can use if you got time for it to sit, for them to rehydrate, you could use onion flakes or dehydrated onion. Okay. That's about 2 tablespoons of onion. You do about the same amount of pickles, and again, you can use whatever pickles you have. I didn't make any pickles last year. Nobody grew any cucumbers, so I didn't have access to a bunch of them. Hopefully, I will be able to grow some this year, and then I'll make some more pickles, and I'll do up a recipe for those when I do them. I'll film it. So we're out of my homemade pickles, so I'm using store-bought ones. Hamburger deals are always good. Alrighty, and now I'm just going to pour just about a tablespoon or so of pickle juice in there. You can use lemon juice or lime juice if you want to. Just need something a little bit sour in there with it. And now I'm going to add my mayonnaise. I've got Hellmann's, but we prefer Duke's or Blue Plate when we can get them. And I'm adding a cupful of mayonnaise here. Okay. A little salt, a little pepper. And now the secret ingredient. I never could understand why my tartar sauce did not taste as good as that you get out places. And Paul told me the secret ingredient is Worcestershire sauce. I use only Lea & Perrins. I'm funny about that. There's a lot of things that I don't care what brand I use, but when it comes to Worcestershire sauce, I'll pay 4 times more because everything else seems to be watered down. So this one doesn't take near as much. So about a half a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce is all you need. You don't need enough to taste that there's Worcestershire sauce in it. It just will cause everything to meld together. And because it has anchovies in it, which is a fish, it just kind of especially blends nicely with the fish. All right, that's it. That's tartar sauce. Now, I'm about ready to cook my fish. I'll be right back. All right, here we go. While I had the camera off, Paul laughed and he said, well, you just turned 5 people off to Worcestershire sauce, telling them about the anchovies in it. So, if you don't like the idea of anchovies in your Worcestershire sauce, just ignore me. Just pretend you didn't hear that or buy a different brand. Okay. I'm going to lay these in there real carefully. My basket will only hold about 4 pieces at a time. Okay, now I'm going to slowly drop it down in there. The nicest thing about this and what makes it so handy is I'm going to fry these for about 7 minutes, I think. Let me see if that'll do it. Is that the grease always stays in there. So all I have to do is take it out of the cabinet and plug it in, and I can do deep frying. Now, I don't like to deep fry very often because it gets grease all over the kitchen. It smells to high heaven, and at least I think it does. But I'm kind of sensitive to things like that. So So I don't deep fry very often, but if you do, this is the easiest, cleanest way to do that. And so, like I said earlier, after several fries of other kinds of food, vegetables or meats, this grease starts getting a little, it's just time to change it. And I don't want to wait too long to do that, you know, so when we have that, that's when I'll do a fish fry, and we can enjoy our fried fish. I made fish and chips one time, and it was delicious, but you have to use cod for that. Paul and I were talking about that the other day, and he said that's the only fish that he knows of that it'll work with and work well. And it was kind of an elaborate thing. You have a double dip of your batter, and you have to let it dry, and then you cook your potatoes in a certain way and your fish in a certain way so that they're all in the basket together. And so, like I said, it's a little bit of a trial, but it was well worth it. It was very delicious. So maybe we'll do that again one of these days, but not today. I'm going to close this, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I think that was a little bit too long, so it looks like about 6 or 7 minutes. It's just about right for this. See how good it looks, all nice and crispy, and here we go. I don't know if you can see that's what's in the pan over here on the other side, but we have I made some fried corn, and so we're going to have that with it, along with some slaw that I made. That's a pretty big piece. I'm just going to use 3 pieces in this batch. Okay. Alright, now I'll set my timer. And we'll be back in a little bit when we're nearly done with all this. I'm going to set this pan in the oven, which has been preheated, so that my fish will stay hot until the rest is all done. And then I'll be back. It's turned out that about 6 minutes is just about right. Depends on the size of your fish. The larger pieces need just a little bit longer, and the smaller ones are fine. But that's what it's running with my temperature on my fryer. Every fryer is a little bit different. And now our timer's all right. There we go. Our last pieces now, or where did I put my tongs? There we go. All right, here we go. Pull it out of the oil. Drain them nicely. And drop them in. I've kept the other in the oven, so it's nice and warm. And now I'm not going to add any more salt to this, since there was salt in the batter. Alright, now let me show it to you on the plate. And there we have it. Now this is my plate. I like pickled okra. Paul doesn't. So, so that's some of my pickled okra that I made. And the fried corn, I'll put a video up in a few days showing how to make the fried corn. So I hope that you guys will enjoy. And I'm sure everybody has their own special way to fish fry, so I'm excited to hear your ideas and what your family does in the comments. Thanks a bunch.